from the station working for you. This is WRTV News at 6, streaming now.
You will have to wear your masks longer than originally planned in an effort to combat COVID-19. Plus, we are learning more about how the statewide election process will play out and what's next for renters at risk of being evicted.
I do hope there's a difference. I do hope there's improvement. The June primary, everything was last minute.
The Marion County Election Board also releasing its plan for the general election. The changes voters in Indianapolis can expect to see.
The Pacers make a surprise move and fire head coach Nate McMillan after the team was swept in the first round of playoffs. Good evening to you. Thank you for joining us here on WRTV News at 6. I'm Amanda Starrentino.
And I'm Mark Mullins. We are dealing with another hot evening right now. It's not a bad evening to visit the fountain at Veterans Memorial Plaza in downtown Indy, but changes are coming. Chief Meteorologist Kevin Gregory preparing us for what comes next. Kevin.
And Mark and Amanda, it looks like our string of 90-degree days will come to an end tomorrow, although it will be a close call. The streak that doesn't end for a while, humidity. It will stay humid right on through Saturday. It's Sunday that you'll feel the difference. Count on some thunderstorms tomorrow and on Friday. As we go to cooler temperatures over the weekend, that comes with less humidity late in the weekend. 3H day, hazy, hot, and humid. Thunderstorms. Struggling to go much north of the Ohio River, but could have an isolated thunderstorm to the southwest. There are your evening temperatures now. We're still at 78 as we approach midnight tonight. We'll talk about thunderstorms for tomorrow and get into the timing coming up.
Breaking news here at 6 o'clock. All 3 NBA playoff games that were set to be played tonight have been postponed, and that's because players around the league have chosen to boycott the game, sending a major statement against racial injustice. This all began when the Milwaukee Bucks didn't take the floor for their game against the Orlando Magic. The Bucks are the NBA team from Wisconsin, where a police officer shot Jacob Blake, a black man, in the back. Well, that happened in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Blake's family says he is now paralyzed. This police-involved shooting has sparked protests in Kenosha and other cities around the country.
And today, Governor Eric Holcomb extended the statewide mask mandate for at least another 30 days at his weekly address this afternoon. The mask mandate was originally set to expire today, but again, it has been extended for at least another 30 days.
And there is another rise in new COVID-19 cases and new deaths from the virus to report tonight. The Indiana State Department of Health says there are 971 new cases of coronavirus here. That's an increase from yesterday's reported new cases. So far, 89,359 Hoosiers have been diagnosed with COVID-19. The state also confirms 18 newly reported deaths from the virus. Yesterday, there were 15 newly reported deaths. Since the pandemic started in March, 3,041 people in our state have died from coronavirus. 1,022,537 Hoosiers have been tested for COVID-19. 8.7% of them tested positive for the virus. The state also reports about 37% of Indiana's ICU beds are available. COVID-19 patients are using 12% of those beds. Non-COVID-19 patients are using 51% of the ICU beds, and 83% of the state's ventilators are also available. So what does this all mean for the election in November? WRTV's Stephanie Wade shares the state's latest plan in handling the unprecedented number of mail-in voting requests and holding a safe election.
First, I want to make it clear that we are going forward with a normal election process here in Indiana.
Meaning we are one of just 8 states not allowing for concerns over the coronavirus as an excuse to vote by mail. Secretary of State Connie Lawson says they will be providing PPE to poll workers and voters as well, plus disinfectant for voting equipment.
The Indiana National Guard is helping us sort and ship this equipment to the counties. And as they were in the primary, they have been a tremendous help to us.
The state is expecting an influx of people voting by absentee this year, predicting up to 1.8 million Hoosiers will vote by mail this general election.
As of this morning, we have 99,146 requests to vote absentee by mail, compared to 53,818 that were requested for the entire election period in 2016.
If you want to vote by mail, you need to mail your application for an absentee ballot no later than October 19th and return it completed by mail to the county no later than October 27th. State officials also mentioning that Indiana has one of the longest early voting periods in the country, allowing anyone to vote early in person beginning October 6th. But in order to do any of this, they need more poll workers.
It takes an army of volunteers to run elections, and we need you to sign up to be a poll worker or to count absentee ballots. Our democracy depends on Hoosiers like you taking the initiative to play an active role.
We're all in this together, so we'll get through it safely together too. We have the resources and the means to do so, but if you have an interest in volunteering, we want to get you plugged in.
Stephanie Wade, WRTV.
To see if you qualify for mail-in voting, head over to our website at WRTV.com. We do have a list of acceptable reasons posted to vote by absentee.
And we are just 69 days away from the general election in November. And today, the Marion County Election Board released their vote center plan, and they are working to address some of the challenges they faced with the primaries in June. WRTV's Megan Sanctorum is working to find out what is being done to keep voters safe and the changes you can expect to see.
One of the biggest changes voters here in Marion County will see is the number of polling locations. There will be 188 sites in November compared to just 22 back in June. Long lines and wait times. That's what some voters experienced in Marion County during the primaries. But now a major increase in polling locations and some new ones as well, like Bankers Life Fieldhouse and Lucas Oil Stadium.
I do hope there's improvement. The June primary, everything was last minute.
Tony Wiederhold is a Marion County resident working to help get people registered to vote. He runs a nonprofit called Indie Community Yoga, and their focus right now is on the election.
I think 180 polling locations on election day is great. I think having 5 early voting satellite locations is great.
Those satellite locations just announced today. People who want to vote early will have additional places they can go, rather than just the city-county building downtown. Those sites will open late October. As for absentee votes, the county experienced challenges with a record number of applications and ballots back in June. They say they've hired additional seasonal workers to process applications, and they plan to have around 150 people working here on Election Day to count and process the ballots, as they're expecting around 100,000. And for those voters who do still plan to head to the polls on Election Day, leaders say you can rest assured safety is a top priority.
We will have health and safety managers at all of our Election Day vote center locations. Our election workers will all wear masks. They will have personal protective equipment as well. Voters will use these finger sleeves on Election Day, and we'll have hand sanitizer at all of our voting locations as well.
Some say the best thing to do is to have a plan in place for how and when you'll vote, and make sure others know their options as well.
Everybody has a role, and you can help. If you help 3 people, that's going to make a big difference.
Working for you, Megan Sanctorum, WRTV.
And the Marion Clerk's office tells us they have around 1,900 people signed up to work the polls, many of them new, and signing up to do it for the first time. Their goal is to have around 2,000 poll workers. We will also have a full list of polling locations posted on our website at theindychannel.com.
Today is the last day to apply for a statewide rental assistance program. The deadline is tonight at 11:59. The website to apply is indianahousingnow.org. If you live in Marion County, there's a different program which you can find at indyrent.org. That program will run as long as funds are available. And today the state announced a new program for landlords and tenants, especially if you're at risk of being evicted. The state can provide tenants and landlords with a neutral facilitator who can help both sides resolve a dispute. This is a free service for both parties. Facilitators will be picked from a pool of trained attorneys, mediators, and senior judges. The biggest rule is that landlords and tenants both must consent in order to take part in this settlement program. For more information, go to courts.in.gov/facilitate.
And new information tonight from WRTV Investigates. A downtown spa that closed up shop says it is working on making things right for customers that still have unused gift cards. An attorney for Studio 2000 Salon and Day Spa responded to WRTV Investigates this afternoon. Harley Mean says the company is working on a plan that deals with its creditors, including gift card holders. Mean says their top priority is helping their 20 employees find new jobs and that some of those workers may honor gift cards at their new place of employment. Customers reached out to WRTV Investigates because they have hundreds of dollars in unused gift cards. The company's attorney told us, quote, Studio 2000 will keep all creditors and gift card holders informed as to its progress on resolution. Again, let me emphasize that Studio 2000 is working diligently to resolve these issues, end quote.
The Indiana Pacers have fired head coach Nate McMillan. This comes 2 days after the Miami Heat swept the Pacers in the first round of the playoffs. McMillan served as an assistant coach under Frank Vogel before the team promoted him to the head coaching role prior to the 2016-2017 season. In 4 seasons, McMillan's teams won 183 games while losing 136. However, McMillan was just 3-16 in the playoffs. The Pacers never advanced past the first round of the playoffs in McMillan's tenure. He and the team previously agreed to a contract extension on August 12th, but again, today the Pacers fired head coach Nate McMillan.
And we are finding more open jobs this evening through our Hiring Hoosiers initiative. It's time for the job feed. Get-Go, the cafe and gas station company, is hiring 150 full and part-time positions in central Indiana. The company is looking for people to work in the daytime, evening, and overnight shifts. There are open positions in Carmel, Zionsville, Avon, Plainfield, Greenwood, and more. We have a link for you to apply for a position when you click on this story on hiringhoosiers.com. An Indy hanger and supply manufactures wire coat hangers. They need a packer. As a packer, you would package finished goods and run machinery. You must be able to lift up to 50 pounds repetitively during your entire shift and be on your feet the whole day. Pay starts at $10.50 an hour plus incentives. And learn more about the jobs and other open positions on hiringhoosiers.com and the Hiring Hoosiers Facebook page.
Tonight, we get an inside look at how schools are trying to keep students and staff safe during the pandemic.
And I'm Dave First. We've been watching the Weldons and racing for some time. Now it's the watch part that has Sebastian and Oliver helping with their dad's legacy. Coming up in the Sports Extra Spotlight.
And rain chances increasing over the next couple of days. We need to talk about the timing of rain. We'll do that coming up.
Only on WRTV, an inside look at the efforts to keep students and staff inside schools safe during the pandemic.
WRTV Chief Investigator Rafael Sanchez shows us how schools on hybrid schedules are making sure there's extra sanitizing of classrooms, restrooms, and the cafeteria.
This is what's happening when kids are not in class. Jeremy Hoskins is at work. He's a head custodian at Franklin Community Middle School.
This is something we started doing to do an extra step in sanitizing.
On Wednesdays, he and a team of 7 have plenty of room to do extra cleaning. Kids are on a hybrid schedule. Half attend Mondays and Tuesdays, the other half Thursdays and Fridays.
What it comes down to make sure that we're doing our part and we can stand behind it saying we feel it's good for the kids to come in, for our teachers to come in.
Custodians are using a hypochlorous spray to clean high traffic areas. The school system says it consulted with the county health department before using it. Beyond classrooms, bathrooms are a main target of sanitizing, as is the cafeteria, which has undergone changes to allow for social distancing. Franklin Community High School is on the same timetable as the middle school. The elementary schools, which are offering in-person learning every day, have separate cleaning schedules.
The same equipment, the same cleaning processes, the same checklists of cleaning tasks are in effect at all of our buildings. We just fit that in at different times of the day.
Days like this are the new normal, as everyone is working to avoid shutdowns and keep schools safe and open.
Working for you, Rafael Sanchez, WRTV.
And the district is using the hypochlorous spray because they say it leaves no residue, it's safe to touch, and there's no smell. Another safety measure, kids will not be using lockers to avoid any hanging out in the hallway.
Hurricane Laura is now a strong Category 4 storm that is expected to hit the Louisiana and Texas Gulf Coast either late tonight or early tomorrow morning. Now, this is a live look at Laura on the WRTV radar tonight. Forecasters say they fear the hurricane could bring a 20-foot storm surge, which could be deadly. Authorities are demanding that coastal residents evacuate, and they are worried that not enough have already fled. Laura is expected to be the most powerful hurricane to strike the U.S. so far this year. We've received word that 25 members of Indiana Task Force 1 are now ready to respond as soon as Hurricane Laura hits. This is video of their deployment from Indianapolis last night. The urban search and rescue team includes emergency responders from various backgrounds from across the state. The crew will perform water rescues if needed.
And Mark, no doubt a scary situation down along the Gulf Coast. More on that in a second. The remnants from Hurricane Laura will increase our rain chances and have its biggest impact, I think, along the Ohio River and south on Friday. More on that in a second. We'll hold on to rain chances as we get into early next week, but it looks like we'll have a dry second half of the weekend. Okay, there is the defined eye of Hurricane Laura, which has been strengthening rapidly over the last 24 hours. Now Category 4, and the National Hurricane Center uses the word devastating as far as potential damage from a Category 4 storm. Sustained winds 145 and making landfall later tonight or in the early overnight hours. Let's follow the track once it comes on shore, moving through Arkansas, southeast Missouri, and just south of the Ohio River. That's the latest forecast. Any adjustments to that could change the forecast for central Indiana, but right now, as I put this in motion, you'll see all of that moisture pretty much move north, then northeast, and then kind of take a hard right turn because of the steering currents and the upper winds pushing everything from west to east at that point, and our rain chances decrease during the day Saturday. Our temperature will decrease as well as we get to the weekend on Saturday. Once Laura pushes to the east, our winds will start coming out of the north, northwest, and that will let drier air, cooler air into the state, and we'll be able to exhale and have a relaxing, comfortable day on Sunday with low humidity. And look at that, temperature of 79 for the high. We're in the upper 80s now. Most locations it feels warmer because of the humidity level. Humidity levels have driven the heat index values into the triple digits. Tonight, 73, some patchy fog possible. There's some of the timing of thunderstorms. Tomorrow morning could start with some isolated thunderstorms. Then as we go to the afternoon hours, heating up, scattered thunderstorms around. They're more likely Friday, but especially I think Friday night into early Saturday. Then a decreasing chance of rain over the weekend. Comfortable Sunday, Monday mornings with temperatures in the 50s for overnight lows. You'll like that.
Well, there's still talk about Sunday's Indianapolis 500, namely from the Weldon family on the Gulf Coast of Florida.
It has been nearly 9 years since Dan Weldon lost his life during a race in Las Vegas, but his wife and children are making sure the legacy continues. Sports director Dave First with the Sports Extra Spotlight tonight.
It was a battle between Takuma Sato and Scott Dixon, watched by fans around the world, including the Weldons, Dan's wife Susie, and two sons. Guys, did you watch the Indy 500 the other day?
Yes.
What did you think?
I wish Scott won.
You wish Scott won?
Takuma Sato's a fast driver, so he kind of deserves it.
And from their Florida home, if anyone knows about fast driving, it's 9-year-old Oliver and 11-year-old Sebastian. Guys, grab your favorite trophy.
Scusa. It was Scusa, Winter Series. Oh, Sebastian has one too, because, you know, we're not going to be outdone by our little brother.
No, exactly.
See, well, here we go. He's in a harder class.
Both have been karting for years now and improving every step of the way. And now this? Sebastian, Oliver, how cool is it that you guys have a line of watches, for crying out loud?
Very grateful for those.
It's thanks to Dan's old partnership with watchmaker Ritmo Mundo, with each of his sons designing them themselves. For Oliver,
I did orange and purple because they're both on my helmet.
And Sebastian.
I think I did blue and pink
Yeah, why was that?
because of my racing car.
Sold on the manufacturer website with proceeds going to the Dan Weldon Foundation and the Alzheimer's Association, something close to the whole family.
That's a special part of Dan's legacy. You know, there's obviously the boys are the biggest part of his legacy and what they're even, outside of racing. But he started to do some work with Alzheimer's Association right before he passed. And I know that was really important to him. And so, it's super important to me and just to be able to give back and to be able to show everybody how appreciative we are, the boys and I as a family, just for the support that we received.
There's no question racing remains with the Weldons.
I got this one in Vegas.
And as the trophy room fills up, so do their dreams.
What's the next step?
I want to go to F1 and then IndyCar.
F1?
We're shooting high, Dave. We're shooting high. We're doing both. We're doing both.
And if anyone can, it's the Weldons, carrying on Dan's legacy in many ways. Dave First, WRTV Sports.
It is time for the photo of the day.
Sue Spencer sent in this great picture of a hummingbird.
Sue says the hummingbird showed up in her backyard on Sunday before the start of the Indianapolis 500. And take a look at the black and white tail. It looks like a checkered flag. Sue says she's never seen a black and white tail on a hummingbird before.
Amazing. Email your photo of the day to news@WRTV.com.
And hummingbirds seem as fast as an Indy car at times. For us, temperatures warm to 81 tomorrow. Remember, first thing in the morning, we may have scattered thunder.